1. The Resurrection Experiment. In 1932, a doctor named Robert Cornish, a prodigy who earned his PhD at age 22, had an idea to revive the dead. He designed a seesaw-like device, placed a human corpse on it, injected a drug mixture to thin the blood, pumped oxygen into the body, and rocked the seesaw to circulate blood. This is the device's design. After failing to revive human corpses, Robert switched to dogs, experimenting on 5. 2 dogs were revived but were blind, disoriented, and died shortly after. Encouraged by partial success, Robert wanted to try again on a human, ideally a recently deceased body. Coincidentally, in 1945, a girl named Thora Shamin went missing after a stranger picked her up from school. Police linked her disappearance to a man named Thomas, who, with overwhelming evidence, was convicted of her murder and sentenced to death by gas chamber. Before Thomas's execution, Robert asked police if he could use Thomas's body for revival. This raised an ethical issue. If Thomas was successfully revived after execution, he'd legally be free, as he couldn't be executed twice. The police denied Robert's request, and he largely abandoned human resurrection experiments. Around this time, a film called Life Returns explored resurrection and ethical dilemmas, starring Robert as a doctor attempting to revive humans and dogs, playing himself. 2. The Vipholm Experiment. In 1945, in Lund, Sweden, the Vipholm Hospital, a psychiatric facility for mentally disabled patients, was the site of an experiment. Most patients had intellectual disabilities with IQs below 70, meaning they lacked the reasoning and analytical skills of average people. A research team conducted an experiment on 660 patients, giving them chocolate toffee or caramel between meals. After some time, all participants developed cavities, with 50 suffering severe damage to entire sets of teeth. Images show the progression of tooth decay. The experiment aimed to confirm suspicions that sweets cause cavities, as many people at the time suffered from tooth decay without knowing why. Researchers concluded that bacteria in teeth consume sugar-producing acid that erodes enamel. The experiment was heavily criticized ethically because it was conducted without patient consent, impossible due to their disabilities. Some viewed these patients as less than human, justifying their use. Candy companies sponsored the sweets, but the results sweets cause cavities led to conflicts before publication. While successful in identifying cavity causes, the Vipholm experiment remains ethically controversial. 3. Operation Sea Spray. This experiment occurred in San Francisco, USA. An elderly man, Edward Nevin, died suddenly after surgery. His body weakened. Doctors found a rare bacterium, Serratia marcescens, in his system, unusual for the area. Around the same time, 10 others had infections linked to this bacterium. Though all 10 recovered, doctors feared an outbreak, but no further cases emerged, ending abruptly. The reason was tied to World War II and the Cold War. After Japan's 1941 Pearl Harbor attack and during the U.S.-Soviet Cold War, a non-combat arms and economic race, the U.S. feared surprise biological attacks from the Soviets or others. In 1950, a U.S. ship off San Francisco Bay sprayed water containing bacteria into the city to test dispersal rates. Nearly 8,000 residents, almost the entire city, were exposed to Bacillus globigii and Serratia marcescens, chosen as harmless. Later, Serratia marcescens was found to be dangerous in rare cases, potentially fatal for those with weak immune systems like Nevin, named Operation Sea Spray. This was one of many U.S. experiments from 1950-1975 dispersing bacteria among civilians, though harmless public outrage followed their disclosure. 4. Poison experiments. Conducted in the Soviet Union, this experiment involved the Gulag labor camps, marked by red dots on maps, where prisoners were detained and forced into grueling labor regardless of gender. From 1921 to 1991, some prisoners exhibited symptoms like nausea, breathing difficulties, and paralysis after meals, leading to death. The cause was Grigory Myronovsky, a biochemist who poisoned prisoners' food with substances like ricin and cyanide, highly lethal toxins. Other poisons included curare, causing paralysis, digitoxin affecting the heart, and mustard gas, a yellow gas causing blisters and, if prolonged, death. The Soviets aimed to develop an odorless, tasteless, undetectable poison. They succeeded with C2, which induces calmness, slight muscle contraction, and death within 15 minutes. Several assassinations were linked to these poisons. In 1947, Bishop Theodore Romsa survived a Soviet Red Army truck crashing into his carriage targeted for religious reasons. In hospital, a nurse injected curare, causing paralysis and death. In 1978, journalist Georgy Markov was jabbed with an umbrella while waiting for a bus, embedding a ricin-filled pellet in his leg, leading to his death 4 days later, likely for political reasons. In 2018, Sergei and Yulia Skripal, a father-daughter duo, were found unconscious on a park bench, poisoned by Novichok, a potent nerve agent, likely via a perfume bottle due to Sergei's double-agent status. These cases trace back to Rory's experiments. 5. Psychiatric treatment experiment. You might wonder why a dental image accompanies a psychiatric treatment experiment. In 1907, Dr. Henry Cotton, a psychiatrist at Trenton Psychiatric Hospital, developed a new treatment for mental illness with a high claimed success rate, earning fame. A female psychiatrist, Phyllis, found his method suspicious and investigated. She discovered that Cotton's patients had no teeth. Cotton believed mental illness stemmed from infections in body parts, primarily teeth. He routinely extracted patients' teeth to test his theory. If ineffective, he removed tonsils, sinuses, or even intestines, claiming infections caused mental illness. He boasted an 85% success rate, unverified. Phyllis's investigation revealed many patients didn't recover, remained unstable, or died during surgeries often performed without consent. Despite accusations, Cotton's career thrived until his death from a heart attack. Afterward, his method was deemed flawed, and no one continued it. 6. Syphilis experiment. This experiment involved syphilis, a horrific bacterial disease I won't detail, but it's dangerous and often fatal if untreated long-term. In 1932, a group of black sharecroppers farmers renting land and paying owners with earnings were targeted. Their lifestyle made them prone to illness. The U.S. Public Health Service offered free health care and medicine, attracting many poor sharecroppers. About 600 participated, receiving regular blood tests and drugs. Some were told they had bad blood, actually syphilis, but weren't informed of their diagnosis. They believed they were receiving treatment, but the drugs were ineffective. The experiment aimed to track syphilis progression and compare its effects on black versus white individuals. Planned for 6 months, it lasted 40 years, with 399 participants having syphilis, 100 dying, and dozens infecting others. Named the Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment, it was joined by a 1946 Guatemala experiment where 300 people, mostly soldiers, were deliberately infected with syphilis, gonorrhea, or chancroid, often via prostitutes, to test treatments. Only 700 received treatment, as control was impossible. Both experiments were so scandalous that the U.S. President and Health Secretary apologized publicly. 7. Nazino Island Experiment. This infamous Russian experiment began in 1933. Russia detained many prisoners, mostly petty thieves and undocumented farmers, due to overpopulation. Prisons were overcrowded, prompting a solution to reduce prison populations while boosting the economy. The plan involved relocating prisoners to undeveloped lands for farming, easing prison overcrowding, and fostering agricultural growth. One chosen site was Nazino Island, a small barren island in a river. About 6,700 prisoners were sent there. They received only sacks of flour, insufficient for all, with no ovens or tools to process it. Some ate raw flour or mixed it with water, causing diarrhea. Panic led some to flee, but armed guards shot escapees. Others built rafts to cross the river, but most failed due to poor construction. As food dwindled, stronger groups used violence to seize rations from weaker prisoners. When food ran out, cannibalism emerged as the only sustenance. The experiment killed 4,000 prisoners from starvation, disease, harsh weather accidents, during transport, or murder by guards or fellow prisoners. Survivors were in poor health due to extreme cold, scarce food, and lack of farming skills, leading to a catastrophic failure on Nazino Island. These are the 7 true experiment stories. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to watch more, don't forget to subscribe and like this video to receive new video notifications every day. Stay curious.